1. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Wherever to find yourself in this weird, wild, wacky world we're in. This is another scene for Darkness in Dublin, the Mage venue. This scene is set right after the previous scene, in which Cassidy and Damien paid a visit to the Keeper in Calhia. And now Cassidy has decided that since, Damien seemed a little in shock, she wasn't just going to let him, wander off home. She's going to take him back to her and Christina's place and, give him tea and cookies and let him calm down a little bit.
Yeah, Damien, who in fact is under shock at this point, lets himself be led pretty much anywhere before he really knows what's happening. He finds himself sitting down being plied with tea and biscuits. And he's just very calmly, very thoughtfully dipping the biscuit in the tea and then eating it.
It is one of Cassidy's, special blends that, she likes to make.
Which makes it just all the more delicious. But yeah, he's very much focused on his biscuits at the moment. Half on the biscuits, and obviously his mind is full of questions.
So I'll just say that Christina was out, and she'll come in to see the two of them, and she'll I think that she's seen Damien before, but has never actually met him. So she recognizes him, but she doesn't really know who he is. But she'll smile to him and wrap an arm around Cassidy.
Damien gives her an absent-minded nod, more as if he had seen her in the parade.
Yeah, you were there for when they resurrected Siren, yes?
Yeah, yes, he was there.
Okay, yeah, but Christina was super focused on other things, so they didn't get a chance to properly meet. So
yeah,
she'll look to him and she'll kind of furrow her brow just a bit. All right.
We just had a interesting talk with the Keeper.
Oh. He can be a bit overwhelming.
Especially given the main topics of conversation. This circus. It's linked to Asmodeus.
Right.
It's a menace, he mutters under his breath.
Well, I suppose all the more reason for us to go. She nods.
It's bigger than we thought.
How big?
Big.
I think Asmodeus is sending people after Theodos. He has a map. He has the map to... It was out of character. Bethmara?
Yes.
Yeah.
Damien will just add Bethmara.
Christina will sit down. She's just gonna sit down at the table.
Yeah.
Very troubled look on her face. She'll look to Cassidy. Yeah. Is there more tea?
Of course, my dear. She will go and pour Christina a cup of tea and bring some more cookies and just place the entire plate of cookies in the center of the table.
She will take a cookie. Thank you.
Well, I figured we would need all of the cookies and tea that we could get at the moment. It's very stressful being a mage in this city.
Indeed, it is. Been here for 3 years.
Oh, I've only been
Almost
here for a
4,
few months, and I'm
actually.
already,
And now you see why I spike my tea from time to time.
Well, that's all you. You can
She
keep
just
that.
nods.
I will keep my other things.
I know.
Damien
Just saying.
drains his tea.
Would you like another cup?
Yes, please.
She nods, and she's actually out of her tea as well, so she will pour herself and Damien a cup before bringing them back to the table.
She will look to Damien. Know that we've seen each other, but I don't think we've properly met. I'm Christina. Verbena. And Cassidy's girlfriend.
Yeah.
She nods.
He shakes his head a bit, regains some of his composure. Damian beg your pardon. Damian Wolf. Pleasure to meet you. Orphan, I think, is the right term to describe me. Disparate is also a term I've heard. We were there when Siren rose from the dead, like a certain other character.
Right. Yes, that's where I recognize you from. That was quite a stressful endeavor.
Yeah.
She does speak with a British accent, but I can't really do it. It's not consistently. So, but just to let you know, she does have
you slip back into Irish.
Yeah,
that's fine.
All the time. But she's been in Ireland long enough that she might have a slight Irish accent now. But yeah. So, she has a high British accent.
Yes. And yeah. To be fair, the keep also had a revelation for me that I wasn't quite ready for, which I hear is apparently the norm.
Yeah, he does that. Matter of fact,
past lives.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'd guessed as much. I had a strong feeling that reincarnation probably was a thing, and I just got the proof for that. And he the bottle that is beside him on the floor, eyeing it thoughtfully.
She nods. Yeah, reincarnation absolutely exists. I've pretty much always believed it, and had some of my own proof as well. But it's a bit jarring to find out for sure the first time that you find out.
Yeah. I was expecting some pig farmer somewhere, but nope. Far from it.
To be fair, I only just found out about my past life. Well, I'm supposed to be speaking to Siren about that soon.
Yeah. Actually, thanks, Cassidy. Thanks for bringing me here. It's good to decompress a bit.
Well, I wasn't just going to let you wander home.
Thank you. For an orphan, do you have any particular interest of things that you'd like to study?
I sort of found myself slotted into the job of learning about the triad and the associated spheres. But at this point, I'm master of none. and a jack of many trades.
He's quite good with entropy.
Yeah,
teaching him
that.
spirit.
Thank you. And well, recently I've been able to increase my life sphere as well. I think you'll be happy to hear, Cassidy, that I can heal other people now too.
Oh, thank goodness.
I thought, yes, we have too fewer, sorry, the terminology, healers in the group, so I thought I could help out there. But yeah, Prime, at least I'm good enough to turn my weapons and make them burn with a cold singeing wrath, and yeah, also able to hit ghosts and similar if need be.
She grins and nods. That's good. It's always
So
good to be able to do that.
at least average with my Prime.
Yeah, I've been giving this little fella a little bit too much paradox lately. She kind of reaches down and scratches her familiar.
She smiles. I'm most efficient with, I'm the best at with life and spirit. I can heal myself, others, pretty much anybody I want.
Yeah.
And I can do a lot in the spirit realm.
Yeah. If you need anything checked up on the entropic side of existence, let me know.
She nods. For
yeah.
sure.
At the very least, I can definitely do a few things, and also see if people are cursed or blessed, if that ever should be needed.
That could be useful. Sure.
Yeah. Apart from that, if you ever need an archaeologist, I'm the man to call. I've also got a master's in cultural heritage management.
Oh, you're an archaeologist.
Yes,
Just so
BSc.
you know, that is her familiar.
Ah.
Oh my god. That's cute.
It's adorable, right? Isn't it?
It's
gives you little shocks, though. Not that I mind, and he'll try to scratch the Mareep behind the ears.
He'll get a little shock, but
he has got high pain tolerance. He doesn't mind at this point anymore.
it gladly accepts the scritches.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah. Also found out that the fellow was feeding me esoteric knowledge, and sadly died the night I awoke. Well, at least when he was alive, he was a hermetic. Turns out, one of the spirit speakers was so nice to hook me up with a direct call, so to speak. He's doing well, I'm happy to say. For a dead man, of course. Sorry, where are my manners?
It's okay.
Yeah, and I've only been a mage for roughly a year now, and I've only been here in Dublin since the merry month of May. Yeah. God, that auction was weird.
It was, wasn't it?
Yeah. And Damien just looks at his chest, approximately where his heart would be, and then stares at it for a little too long. And yeah.
She frowns.
Yeah. That's what you get when you try to take something out of circulation, so that doesn't happen, and then it happens exactly to you.
No, that was not your fault. That was Scisho's fault.
If it wouldn't have been for my sheer tenacity, I probably wouldn't have been standing at that point. Ugh, I never want to have part of my soul ripped away from me again.
Why is... I don't even understand why Scisho is still alive, if I'm being honest.
The reason I didn't behead him right there and then? Garu. They needed him to exorcise something out of a werewolf who called himself Fries with Catsup. I can't believe it.
She fucking cracks up laughing.
I'm not joking. That apparently is his deed name. Ugh. And he just face palms Picard style.
Do I want to know the story of how he even got that name? Like,
I don't know the story behind
I think that's
it.
his real name, not his deed name. Am I correct?
it's the only name he knows. Out of character.
Yeah, so he doesn't have a deed
It's the
name,
only.
I suppose.
It's the only name he knows. It's not a deed name. It's just what he's been called his whole life because he was born Metis. So they get names like that just like Lupus do.
We need to.
But I mean,
get a
but
hold
as
of
far as they can,
Theotis.
I was gonna say, as far as they can infer, like if they know anything about Gar's society, they would assume it's a deed name. They don't know that that's his actual name.
Yeah, though he did state in that scene that it was his name.
Oh, okay. That it was his actual name.
Actual name.
Mm-hmm. Okay. But anyway, Christina will nod at that. Yes, we do need to get a hold of Theotis.
The Keeper showed us something that hasn't come to pass yet.
What was it?
The characters from the circus, they're going to be coming after Theotis for the map.
Then we need to be on our guard.
We need to warn him.
Well, yes, we need to warn him. But we also need to be on our guard.
Oh, this is a mess. Also, I don't know if you've tried getting a hold of Wilhelm Grimm lately, but he is stuck inside of the same book which the 5th Keeper of Tales is trapped in.
Oh, seriously?
Yes, as it turns out, Wilhelm is the one who trapped this other keeper there because he'd become twisted and wrong. And that book, the one that Wilhelm and this other Keeper of Tales are trapped in, is in Besmara. That's why they want the map.
Fuck.
Because if they can get all 5 books, well, I'd rather not say what happens then.
I really don't want to think about what's gonna happen then, so let's just make sure that they don't get all 5 books.
Precisely.
We just dealt with stopping the end of the world. I'd really not like to have to deal with another
Nah, when bad things come, it's not in ones, not in twos.
Oh, it's always in threes. I'm
Ah,
aware, yes.
yeah. And I've got some hard scientific fact behind this one.
Well, we have
Damien definitely
Aishar.
more and more. So yeah, we had Aisha, we have Asmodeus, or Asmodeus, or however the hell you call that bloody devil's name. He literally is one.
Mhm.
Goddamn devils. Beg your pardon.
I'm
Damn that.
I'm getting pretty tired of them. Actually, they can just go away. This alone.
The apocalyptic plots can, stop anytime now.
Yes,
Yes,
please. I just had to get myself a hot tub so that I could soak and keep my sanity to a certain degree.
Cassidy kind of looks at Christina. We have our ways.
I won't lie. I could murder for a good spliff right now.
That just causes a little smirk to cross Cassidy's face.
Damien gives her a questioning look.
Cassidy is going to get up and go out into the garden. She will be back.
Christina's just gonna sit there and grin until she comes back.
Ha! If there's one thing that unites people, it's pot. and Damien just gives a
going to
hearty
come
laugh.
back with a rather large bag.
My ladies. I wonder, should on my list of charges of smuggling also drug possession come on? Methinks yes.
Nothing.
By the way, those are
quite
false
so good to
allegations. I am not a smuggler.
Well, that's good to hear.
Yes. We don't
wasn't
smuggle,
lying.
just grow and share with our friends.
Don't.
And sometimes
Wow.
bake it into things.
To be fair, I know a few recipes. Well, academics, And he smiles. In that case, Damien produces a Tupperware in which there is American Spirit tobacco. Hashtag not sponsored. Rolling material, rips, and also the filters and everything. And he simply goes, "May I?"
Of course.
Cassidy would gladly share.
Fair enough. In that case, Damien deftly starts building a doobie, and he's building a very nice and long doobie, which will very comfortably satisfy 3 seasoned smokers, to say the least. He's surprisingly dexterous at that, so those 3 dots in dexterity are coming way handy. And at the end, he gives a quick prayer to Freya and Freyr and lights it. After 1-2 tokes, he passes it on clockwise.
Puff, puff, pass.
Yeah, so I assume that they're just puffing and passing as they're talking.
Would Cassidy be able to hear that he mentions Freya?
Yes, because the prayer is in Old Norse.
Okay. She's going to smile a little bit.
So is Christina.
Because Christina knows about the tattoo on Cassidy's back.
She does.
It is huge, and you can usually see the top of it poking out above her shirt. Because it literally goes from, the small of her back all the way up to where her neck meets her back. And it is a large Thor's hammer.
Well, fair enough. If any of that is poking out, Damien will probably see it. Awareness 3 and alertness 3 are awesome. But yeah, once the doobie comes back to Damien, he cups his hand and makes a little bong out of his hands and takes a really hard hit there. Keeps it in for 3 seconds and lets it out through his nose. Hobbits would be proud. Passes it on, exhales the rest, a small ring of smoke coming out.
Oh. This is probably really strong, considering that, you've got these two together.
Yep.
Good stuff. Thank you, ladies. You've just saved my evening.
Christina grins. Good. Glad to hear it.
Yeah, mind you, I've already been in a few adventures, and he, with his thumb, points towards Cassidy. Some I was more dragged along, but others I also actively helped.
Hey! Don't look at me. I get dragged along because I can heal.
I mean, I'm happy to drag you along on other stuff too. And in all honesty, if you keep hanging out with us, you'll get dragged into a lot of stuff.
To be fair,
are we adopting an orphan?
What?
Are we adopting an orphan, Christina?
I don't see why not. He seems like he'd fit in with us pretty well.
Just as a warning, I'm let's just say due to the nature of how I awoke, and I'm slowly figuring out what how should I say, sort of role fate is setting me into. Let's just say I'm trying to fight it less and more follow my dharma. And I've got the feeling that my dharma will require me at times to help the wild, to prop up the weaver, and most likely, more often than not, be the pattern breaker. But not the worm, for it has gone mad, and it stands for everything that entropy shouldn't be. It rubs me the wrong way. It could be the pattern breaker once again. He says very philosophically, letting the effect of the herbs work their magic.
Christina will just nod. And Damien can tell that the language that he has used is familiar to her.
Yeah.
Evan said that Merlin would offer him a place in the Verbena, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Cassidy would kind of close her eyes for a second. And she would kind of, open them and look over at Damien. Well, it looks like we're not the only ones adopting you.
Damien looks at her, recognizing what is happening. Just smiles.
Offered you a place.
Christina smiles.
I willingly. Well, just to be on the safe side, this is more me trying to avoid any nasty surprises in the future. Are there any taboos? I mean, if I were to become one of the Verbena, would there be certain things that I would be strictly forbidden to do?
Cassidy kind of looks to Christina on this one.
Christina furrows her brow and she shakes her head. There's not really anything forbidden. It's more personal preference on what you're willing to do or not to do. It's just remember that everything you do comes back on you at least threefold, sometimes more.
That is true.
So you take that with what you will, and I think honestly the only hard fast rule we have is to harm none as far as innocents go.
That's fine. If I harm,
like
then it's to
pagans.
punish. If anything, it is to punish the guilty. The very guilty.
Harm none, do what you will. That's the whole basis of the tradition. And remember, respect the laws of karma.
Respect the wheel, or it will come to crush you.
She nods. Exactly.
That was already an insight I had, but always good to hear others say it as well. He takes another deep drag, passes it on, exhales.
All of us will take up a different specialty in what it is that we do, but we are an earth-based tradition. We don't tend to do human sacrifices anymore. Some of the more extreme of us will, but that's not something that I'm into.
If a great blot like that is to happen, the victim would have to willingly do that.
They would.
That's
and
what the text
it would be something big and powerful that we would need that sort of sacrifice for. It would not be a ritual that would be taken lightly to perform. And there would have to be a whole lot of circumstances, like necessary circumstances involved for me to be okay with doing something like that.
Same thing here. Well, in that case, Damian Fuchs, who goes under the name Damian Wolf, will gladly accept and join the Verbena. Maybe like this, finally, I'll be able to connect with a tradition that I was cut off from, which my ancestors were cut off from when that god from the east showed up and demanded that all bow.
Christina nods and she smiles sadly at that. I really hope so. I'm sorry that happened.
It's not your fault. It's happened in the past, but reconnecting with my roots, that'll make me stronger. For a tree with roots can stand, one without will always fall.
Indeed. She smiles and looks to Cassidy.
She kind of leans against Christina.
You two make a cute couple.
She blushes.
So does Cassidy.
Thank you.
Enjoy each other's presence, because you'll never know. People come, are here for a bit, and sometimes they leave. So enjoy the present, and then you can cherish it later. He says with a slight sadness in his voice, almost as if he was speaking from experience.
Christina nods. She has experienced it herself. Yes, welcome. We are pleased to have
also
another.
Has a. Oh, sorry.
Christina would just say, welcome. We are pleased to have another among our ranks. There aren't actually many of us in the city, so very grateful to have you.
No, the three of us makes, what, 4, I think, in total?
4. Aside from Merlin, the Keeper, the Watcher, whatever you want to call him.
Can't technically count him. He's not in the city. He's scarcely leaves Kalhaya.
Okay, that's fair. But he's around if we need him, because we can go to Kalhaya to see him. But
and he has come to the city once in very recent times.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, to rip a breach into the Great Barrier that allowed us to rush in and deal with it.
Aside from him, I believe that I am the eldest Verbena in the city, which is weird for me to say that.
Yeah.
That is
something
weird for me to say that. Like she just realized that. She's like, "Whoa, wait a minute, really?"
Cassidy just kind of squeezes her hand.
Well, okay, yeah, I am the eldest Verbena in the city, aside from him. So,
I guess it's only fair. Cassidy, you probably picked up on that, but yes, Fox, or Fox in English, is my family name. You two are the only ones who know.
well, I'm not going to repeat it.
Nor will I.
Good.
That stays in these walls.
I suppose
Excellent.
I tell you it's not really a secret, I suppose, but not something that everybody knows. I am from Greece originally. My family name is Spanos, and we are kin to the Black Furies.
Damien's eyebrow goes up at the mentioned Black Furies. Huh. Furies as in the creatures created by Zeus to punish those that break the divine law? Then again, kinfolk. Wait. Is that the Garou faction?
Yes. Yes, it is. They are a tribe.
Of course there are several factions. If we find the same thing with the vampires, then why not with the werewolves? Makes sense, actually.
My grandmother was one of them.
I have great respect for your folk. I've sort of figured out that that the night I woke, I probably was in a Garou related burial site. Mind you, I didn't know it at the time.
Oh, interesting. I would love to hear more about.
I'll try.
Out of character, he told Cassidy the story,
Yeah,
right?
he did in quite detail. The only two objects that I was able to save from there. Okay, you know what? Since Cassidy has heard this one before, I'll try to keep it brief. As you heard, I'm an archaeologist, and I was a assistant for Professor Braunschweiger. That was back in Austria. Exactly, Professor of Archaeology in Salzburg. Anyway, he always had a knack of finding places, uncover places that have been forgotten. May they have been Mithraeums, burial sites, caves with that were used for rituals and other things. And I was a sleeper back then, but looking back, I realized he was feeding me esoteric knowledge, couched in academic language, of course. The smart bastard. It would way later turn out that he was part of the Order of Hermes. So, yeah, he might have set his eyes on me, or not, or I just might have been useful. Whatever the case was, we were a few kilometers away from Graz itself, and once again, we found an entrance to a cave that had been previously covered up through some ancient mudslide or something similar to that. I was in there first, he behind me. What I saw was a cave system and a big central sort of hall full of petroglyphs that detailed how Worm went mad, how Weaver went mad and how things have gotten so out of whack. But at that point, I was just looking at the remains. Some of them were clearly human, and some of the osteology I saw looked as if they were some weird human canine hybrids. And of course, there were scores of bronze objects everywhere. It was extremely rich. It would have been the sensation of the year. But I just put 2 objects in a bag as I turned around. And there I saw the professor, neck twisted, limply lying in front of the feet of some very furry monstrosity. The eyes dripping with malice, those teeth ever so crooked, nay, not teeth, fangs. The snout similar to that of a bat's, hunched over, gigantic, fear and terror-inducing, just cackling, speaking something to me in some language I couldn't understand, and me in panic just fleeing deeper and deeper into the caves until I was cornered, it coming, cackling. Damien takes another deep take from the J and passes it on. Yeah, it made gestures clear that it was going to eat me feet first and probably enjoy it. So there, on all fours, trying to get away, I touched something, a blue stone. Next thing I knew and felt, energy rushing through me. Never had I felt so alive. I thought the energy was going to burst out of my eyes. Everything went black. The next morning I awoke, roughly 10 kilometers away from the cave entrance. No one in sight. So I did the natural thing. I climbed up on a tree, found the nearest settlement, and told the police what I had seen. We'd gone, we checked, the cave entrance was there, all the petroglyphs gone, all the bronze artifacts and burial goods gone, all the bones gone, and the body of the professor with a twisted neck in a brook in the vicinity. They had concluded that we had obviously breathed in some bad air or some spores or something that had made us go bananas, and that the professor obviously must have died in some accident and I must have fled for several kilometers. But at that point I knew something was afoot, so I decided to officially go with the story. But as I touched my side pocket, I felt, and he produces his prime foci out, a Bronze Age style socketed axe with a symbol on it that looks similar to the prime symbol, but more rudimentary.
Mm-hmm.
That bronze socketed axe, and he produces a very old piece of amber that has a face carved in it, very enigmatic, and that piece of amber was still in the bag in my pocket. At that point I knew I hadn't dreamt it, I hadn't been in some hallucination. This shit was being covered up. So I decided to keep mum for the moment. And as it would later turn out, roughly a week later, the professor apparently had prepared for such a case and gifted me with some money and a notebook explaining a bit more about what I had become. Almost as if he had known it. And that led me to look for similar stones. I had a lead for a short time on the black market. That's how I met Nine Finger Tam, part of the local Shinzengumi, not knowing at the time that that was being run by Saisho and his slaving operation. They might call it different, but that's what it is. And to my chagrin, I verified a few of Nine Finger Tam's objects because he said that there was an auction going that I would find very interesting. And that's how I bumbled into the auction and acquired the animatronic heart. And also learned in the same go that it's apparently possible to sell human souls, which utterly disgusts and shocked me. And that kindred are real. I mean, vampires.
She nods.
Yeah, and the rest from there was well, I wasn't able to find any of the blue stones, but that's less important now. But I was able to bumble my way into the Green Dragon and start getting answers to questions that were slowly driving me mad. So that's how, in the merry month of May, I ended up in Dublin. He says, half smiling, half thoughtful.
That is quite a tale.
Yeah, if I didn't have the proof right here, I also would have just thought that must have been one bad trip, but it wasn't. It happened.
Of course.
But yes, and being able to get into the Great Library of Dublin has been a great boon. So many answers to so many questions. But yeah, so I thought originally, yeah, take a year off, find some answers, maybe see a bit of the world, get away and let a bit of grass grow on the things. And the next thing I know, I seem to have found myself into World End Central here.
Yes, and, losing limbs and vital body parts.
I didn't want to go into the gross details, but yes, that has happened as well. And he just looks at his left leg. Georgie gave an arm, and I gave a leg for that. It'd be
By the way,
funny
if you look at his leg under spirit sight, holy wow.
Wow, okay.
It's a freshly created and attached leg. It seems to be organic, but yeah, it's obviously not part of the original pattern. Under spirit
it is legit
sight.
made out of spirit.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, I've some adventures I've been accidentally dragged along, and more recently some I agreed to, because, well, all hands on deck it seems, and yeah, I couldn't have lived with myself if I didn't at least try to save it. I live in this world, as crooked as it might be.
I mean, I'm pretty fond of, at least the people in this world. She kind of looks over at Christina.
Sorry, what did Cassidy say?
Well, I'm at least fond of the people in this world. She, looks over at Christina.
She smiles and blushes and nods, as am I.
I've got some family back home. That's amongst the other reason why I'm going with the name Wolf, trying to keep them as uninvolved as possible.
That's fair.
And yeah, as you've guessed, I've only been in this, being a Margus for roughly a year now. So yeah, don't let my ruggish good looks fool you. And he says it with a self-deprecating smile. Alas, basically everyone has got more knowledge on me than I.
That has to be a bit rough.
I feel the same way sometimes.
But yeah, also good to know that there's some people who have got a healthy amount of respect for samsara. That's calming. After all, as Duncan pointed out in a talk I had a few days ago with him, yeah, And what about, he pointed out that I didn't have any nasty intentions for people, didn't really want to hurt anyone, which is true. For the most part, a part of this one demigod, but he'll get his comeuppance eventually. Anyway, yeah. Yeah, as he pointed out so nicely. And what if you were closer to Hitler and you had your powers? Yeah. That, and he also pointed out something that I'd only noticed recently. I really don't want to knock people's work because a lot of sacrifice goes into it. I've seen it with my own eyes. But how should I say? Mages around here are not tying up loose ends, and it's coming again and again to bite them. So, yeah. Guess amongst other things, I'll be trying to tie up some loose ends here, so that when I can go, I might be able to go with a better conscience. Thanks again for the doobie. I needed it.
Well, after smoking that, you're not going anywhere, because I don't want you ending up heavens knows where. There's a spare bedroom.
She nods. You're more than welcome to stay. You don't need to go anywhere.
Damien stretches out his hand, his fingers closed, only his thumb outstretched, and he quickly flicks it while he looks with one eye, and he just nods. Yeah, takes the last, hands it. The last token goes, yeah, I'm well baked.
Yeah, you're not going anywhere, my dear. You are going to you're going to go into the bedroom and you're going to lay down because you'll probably be crashing here real soon.
Yep. Christina just nods. Yep. Let's show him where he can sleep.
Yeah. By the way, if you hear the word Fulgia, that is me referring to my avatar. She's at least 10,000 years old, at least from the dress and what she's told me, and she used to be a shamaness. So, no worries.
Interesting.
I even got to get a clear look at her 2 weeks back. Yeah, amazing what the Bata can do.
Christina has living legend Mother Nature, so Christina will just look to him and say, I bet you couldn't guess who my avatar is.
So many possibilities. And I don't feel like cross-wiring my brain with some entropy and mind and free association right now, if you don't mind.
That's completely fair. My avatar is Gaia herself.
Gaia as in the Greek goddess, or Gaia as in the manifestation of the, Mother Nature herself, the planet?
Gaia as in the Greek goddess.
Understood, wherever she might be. And he gives a sitting bow. Just in case.
She smiles.
Yeah.
I smiled earlier when you mentioned Freya.
Let me guess, yours is Freya, isn't it?
Indeed it is.
And Christina just nods.
Okay, this is going to get complicated if I want to make a plot in her honor. Ugh. So what, will I have to sacrifice to you to sacrifice to her? Oh, that's going to be complicated.
That would be hilarious.
Then again,
I mean,
Tacitus.
I take sacrifices of cookies.
Yes, cookies and more green.
Understood. Although I have to say, this is some damn good kush,
Thank
and
you.
I know it.
We should
I've
show him the garden
Tomorrow.
yeah,
tomorrow.
Tomorrow when
probably.
he wakes up.
I think we would all trip over. Well,
I think
our
that we
own
would die in
fate
there
at
right
this
now.
point.
I think we would die in there right now. So let's not.
I see. I see. Yeah. Well, if I guess there's one more thing in order, I should probably describe how I view the world. So that you guys know what you're getting yourself into, ladies. Seems only fair. I started out with a very, let's say, mechanistic view of the cosmos. To a certain extent, I probably still do. But as I've seen, reality hacking is perfectly possible. However, I like to go for the Sumerian way of doing it, trying to tap into the great stories, the names, the gods. After all, aren't they just manifestations of the higher? Also, to a certain extent, to keep us probably under control. And the 9 energies that we are capable of manipulating, which I'm pretty sure are part that power the wheel. But I guess these days, if I had to put a name on it, I more see myself as a mystical scientist, maybe. I'm also fully aware that the spirits, and even if an egregore is just a manifestation of a story, as I found out for myself, they are feelings, they are sentient beings, and it would be wrong to treat them otherwise.
Oh, our friend. He is still at your place, yes?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I fed him some prime from my animatronic heart. I didn't place it there myself. I would like to say that that was an object I had acquired at the auction because I thought, well, what is more terrifying than a vampire? A cyborg vampire. And I tried my best to get it away from their hands. Expected that that I would get my heart ripped out and that shoved in there, but that's that. I was sorely tempted to ask for my favor from the keeper right there and then, but if my experience has taught me anything, a little bit of patience can go a long way.
Indeed, it can.
So that's why I wasn't lying. I did actually mean it when I said I'd rather keep it for the most dire of situations. And he knocks against his chest, a very slight metallic sound reverberating from his chest. For now, the old ticker is working more than well. Frankly, it has given me enough. What would you say? Yeah, I guess they would say stamina. That I could probably run a marathon. Yeah, that would have been interesting. But yes, as poor old Cassidy probably is turning her eyes right now. Yeah, I occasionally rumble on. Sorry about that.
I'm used to it
No
by
problem
now.
at all.
all good. But,
Did I crash?
no. I think the hangout freaked out there for a second.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But
yes, bed. Bed.
Yes, let's
Bed
get
sounds
you to bed.
good. He gets up, he sways, but in his credit, this is obviously not his first rodeo. He, with arms outstretched, he gently balances himself.
Christina stands up with him and kind of readies herself to catch him in case he falls.
Right.
Against all expectations, he actually manages to get to the room and sit down normally and not face plant.
Very cool.
And unless Christina wants to talk to Cassidy privately, I think that's a good place to leave off.
Agreed. Time for me to go to bed anyway. So in that case,
Busy?
I'll just log myself out and you two do your thing. Have fun.
So,
Oh,
does Christina need to talk to Cassidy about anything?
She might. After they get Damien settled, she'll pull her into their room. We just pretty much adopted a baby.
Yeah, we did, didn't we?
Because, yeah, I mean, yes, he is an adult, but he has not been around very long, so he's essentially
I mean, to
a
be
baby.
fair, neither have I.
Well, that's true. Okay.
Only been
So,
awakened for about 6 years.
okay, but that's still longer than him.
Very true.
But I've still been awakened for twice as long as that, so...
I mean,
She
I got
smiles to
lucky.
her.
I've got Merlin, so. And he has my story. I asked him to protect it.
She nods. Well, honestly, given from what I've heard about him, it's probably better that we snatched him up before anybody else did.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, he seems to fit in pretty well with our worldview.
That he does. He's quite sweet. We've gone on several interesting adventures together.
Mm-hmm.
Rescued a virtual adept from his own home. That was interesting, to say the least. One of those moments when I was really glad that my phone doesn't get Wi-Fi. It was a situation where I was thankful to be a Luddite.
She nods.
And then we went after information that led us about Gravedigger.
She nods. which hopefully I'll be able to help with the next phase of that.
Fingers crossed. It was dangerous, to say the least. We almost lost Georgie, then she lost an arm, and Damien lost a leg.
Yeah. I've known Gravedigger a long time.
I don't think I ever actually met him.
Well, to be fair, I'm probably one of the only people that genuinely likes him. But he has a lot to teach if people are willing to listen and overlook the fact that he can be just a colossal dick.
Well, at the very least, you can overlook it. Certain others in this city, I can't really overlook their actions, but
He's taught me a lot of what I know about spirits and the Umbra.
Saisho is
A lot
one that
more
I
than
can't
what I learned
forgive.
before. She nods. I'm not sure any of us are going to be able to forgive Saisho.
Human trafficking, mind wiping his apprentices.
Mm-hmm. I know.
I don't know how he's still alive.
Appealing to people's empathy at the last second.
Feels nice to finally sit down and have a conversation.
I know. We've been busy. And the circus won't be really a date, but it should be interesting nonetheless.
Especially not with what we've learned now.
Yeah.
I'll text Theodus in the morning and see if I can get a hold of him.
We should have a proper date soon.
We should.
She hugs her.
She's kind of leans against her. How tall is Christina, by the way?
Like 5'9".
Okay, Cassidy's just slightly taller.
Right. Yeah, I think
She's
we've established
5'11".
this before, that she's just taller than Christina. It's great.
And she's probably barefoot right now, so. Because she generally is when, she's at home.
Yeah. Yeah, Christina took her shoes off when she first came in, so.
But yes, we will have to have a proper date soon. When, we're not trying to stop an apocalypse. Though that seems to be a weekly chore here in Dublin.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not one apocalyptic plot, it's another.
Right?
Vampires and demons and...
And werewolves, so am I. Oh.
Ugh, sheer madness, I say.
Let's just hope we don't run into any unfriendly werewolves, because that would be really bad.
No, apparently there were some at the battle with Ishar. I stayed as far back as I could. I'm no use to anyone in a fight.
We should go to bed.
We should. It's late, and, well, things are crazy right now.
They are. And we have a big day tomorrow.
That we do. Going to a circus run by a demon.
Fun times.
Why? It's one of those moments when I question why can't I just have a normal date for once and not go to a demon run circus?
I mean,
I guess
because
that's
that
what
wouldn't be any
happens.
fun, would it?
I suppose that's what happens when both you and your girlfriend are mages.
Uh-huh.
Instead of going on
Exactly.
dates, you try to stop the apocalypse every week.
Yep. Those are our dates. We try not to get killed together. Fun. So much fun.
Cassidy will go over and get changed. She pretty much just wears a pair of shorts to bed because
Yep, Christina will do the same. She wears since it's summer, she will not wear her normal flannel pajamas, and she will wear just like shorts and a tank top.
Cassidy pretty much forgoes the shirt at this point. Christina has seen all of her scars, so she doesn't feel as compelled to wear long sleeves around her.
Makes Christina happy. And she'll curl up in bed with her and wrap her arms around her. I love you.
And I love you. Sleep well.
You too.
And I think with that, we can end our scene. Thank you, players, for playing. Thank you, watchers, for watching. This has been another scene for Darkness in Dublin, the Mage venue. See you next time.